we will now move on to the next part, which is the candidates for Vice President, Humanities and Social Sciences. So my role. If I could please ask all those who are candidates to please raise your hand so we can easily add you in. And I'll quickly, while that's being done, just say that the Vice President, Humanities and Social Sciences role is again one of the new executive officer positions for this year. And well, in the role, it's about representing the 8 schools within the Humanities and Social Sciences faculty, and that also includes the postgraduate law students at CCLS and also the students at the Paris campus. Awesome. Okay, I see people are starting to join in.
Oh, good.
Awesome. Okay, right, here we go. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to start with a round of introductions where you're just going to say your name and what you study, and then that way you can tell me as well how to pronounce your name. So we're going to get started. We'll go from left to right on my screen. So we'll get started with Joshua.
Hello, my name's Joshua, but I go by Josh, so whatever's easiest. And I'm a 3rd year drama student.
Awesome, thank you. We'll move on to Jacob.
Hello, my name's Jacob, and I'm a 3rd year history and politics student.
Awesome, thank you. Zainab.
Hi, I'm Zainab. I'm doing my MA in International Relations.
Awesome, thank you very much. And then I hope I'm saying this right, Zainab? Yeah, I think the name is, I think it's just the first letter which is different, which is throwing me off a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi, I'm Zainab and I'm 3rd year English with creative writing student.
Awesome, thank you very much. And finally, Jem.
Hey, I'm Jem. I'm a 3rd year English literature student, and I know nobody else has said this, but my pronouns are she, her.
Awesome, thank you very much. Awesome, so I will open this up to the audience to ask any questions for the HSS positions. Okay, we'll start with Matthew and, oh, yeah, and Raheem, there we go. Matthew, would you like to go first?
Yep, okay. Hi, my name is Matthew Beach. I'm a PhD student in geography. Could each candidate please tell me their understanding of student-staff liaison committees as representation structures and how they will ensure all HSS departments include PhD students in these structures?
Awesome, thank you very much, Matthew. And Raheem? You might be on mute, Raheem.
I'm so sorry about this. As I was saying, this is inspired by Jem's introduction and use of their pronoun. Do the candidates have any plans for HPSS to introduce potential training for pronoun use and general awareness for LGBTQ across HPSS?
Okay, so to repeat those questions, so how would the candidate successfully include PhD students in all the student staff liaison committees, and how they would go about promoting a LGBTQ+ friendly environment within the faculty? So we'll get started. Obviously, again, you have 60 seconds to answer both questions. Jacob, we'll get started with you on this one.
Hello. I'll start with the second question. So I think that having people introduce themselves with their pronouns is a very good idea. So I apologize for not doing that earlier. And I think that having things like pronoun badges and normalizing using your pronouns is very good. And also keeping QM as an LGBT inclusive space, which I think is also very important. when it comes to...
Sorry, I'm just going to stop you just there, just because I've realised I have missed a part of the question from Matthew, and I just want to make sure you all have the opportunity to answer it correctly. Matthew, do you mind coming back in and just saying your question again? Sorry. Sorry about this, everyone.
Hey, it would just be helpful for each candidate if you could tell me your understanding as well of student staff liaison committees as representation structures.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Matthew. Okay, so we'll continue with Jacob with your time. And to kind of rephrase the question, what's your understanding of SSLCs as representational structures and the inclusion of or PhD students in that? So we'll continue with the time now.
So I will admit to not having a great deal of knowledge on SSLCs and how it includes PhD students, but luckily the SU does provide training for its representatives, and that will mean that I'll have the opportunity to work out how to include PhD students. But I think that generally bringing an air of transparency to the role will let everyone see how that's to be. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much. Joshua, we'll move on to, or Josh, whichever you prefer.
Whatever.
One for you. You've got 60 seconds.
Thank you very much. So with the student staff liaison committees, I think having particular roles and encouraging PhD students to get involved with that. So saying, right, I would like 2 people who are PhD students to be able to represent those who are studying at that level. For meetings, I want to encourage more people to do that and, like I say, have the specific roles. Regarding LGBTQ+ and the use of pronouns, in drama, we introduce ourselves with names and pronouns straight away at the start of the modules. I think gender neutral toilets are a big thing. I want that a campus-wide thing, so not just having it in certain buildings, but everywhere. Inclusivity, I want a safer environment for everyone. Make aware of LGBTQ+ societies, so people know where to go, and also encourage people to speak about issues if they've got any problems, homophobia, transphobia. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you very much. We'll now move on to Zainab. Whoever wants to go first can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. It's fine.
Awesome.
Okay, so would you start the timer?
Yep, you can start.
Okay, so in regards to the first question on pronouns, I think we could include a forum from first years for everyone to include their pronouns and to make sure that that might be part of your email address so that everyone knows what your pronouns are, or also introduce them in during courses. And for the second question on PhD liaisons, so I've been part of the SSLC as a course rep in both English and drama and in history and in politics now. But so I'm glad that there are reps running now for PhD candidates and postgraduates. And as a postgraduate myself, during my time, there weren't any on those committees, and to make sure that those reps are there to voice your opinions on matters that include PhD and master's students, so that we're all integrated as one and part of the SSLC as well.
Awesome, thank you very much. Jem, on to you.
Hello, so I'll start with the first question. Obviously, student staff liaison committees are very important. And as was said before, I mean, I'm the last person, so I might be repeating points, I believe, but it's important for PGs to have this sort of representation. It's been raised in many meetings that this isn't happening. And another way of representing students alongside the SU would be to, make sure there are PG students involved in these SSLC meetings. I myself have been part of quite a few, so I know how important they are. And in accordance with the LGBT question, obviously I used my pronouns when introducing, and that's something I've done my entire uni degree, and I do it every day in real life as a way of normalizing it, obviously. I think there needs to be more tolerance, less hatred, and also more active protection of especially marginalized queer communities such as Black trans women that are being murdered at a large rate. I think also having the LGBT SOC being more inclusive.
Thank you very much. Awesome. And then finally, we'll move on to Zainab Khan.
So with the first, in regards to the first question where you were talking about PhD students, I think it's incredibly important that we provide equal opportunities to those who are on like higher education levels. Obviously, I don't have as much, like Jacob said, I don't have as much knowledge on it, but obviously there would be training provided. And like I said, I think it's really important to just provide equal opportunities, make sure that they're kind of supported and they receive that same amount of like equal support during, you know, their PhD, masters, etc. To make sure there's like meetings and they just feel included, and like the whole kind of inclusion aspect of being a part of the student bodies and like very important. And then in regards to the second question, which was the LGBTQ, I think just in general, removing the stigma that comes with those kinds of identifications is really important. So it's not something that should be just, oh, we're doing it to make it normal. It should just be a normal thing anyway. So there should be like events.
That's the time on that one, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No worries, thank you. Awesome, so that's one round. Would anyone else from the audience like to ask any more questions, or I do have myself questions prepared? Awesome, we have those people. So we're gonna go on this round with Antoinette and Adriana. Awesome, Antoinette, would you like to go first with your question?
Yes, hello, hi, I'm Leda. I wanted to ask something about representing students, because of course that's something that candidates are gonna, or like whoever gets elected will have to do. So my question is, what have you already done to establish that relationship with the student body?
Awesome, thank you very much. And Adriana, onto your question.
Hi, I'm Adriana. I'm a PhD student in drama and English. And I just want to clarify that I'm not turning on my video because I'm in my personal bedroom space. And since most of my students are undergrads, I don't feel comfortable putting my video on. I noticed that in a lot of your manifestos, you talk about things like decolonizing the curriculum or representing and fighting for quote unquote ethnic minorities. I would love to hear about how, because there's so much chat around QMUL about decolonizing the curriculum and trying to deal with the level of white supremacy present. And I think it's absolutely a huge task, but how do you think that you in this position can agitate?
Okay, awesome. So the two questions are, what have you already done in terms of building relationships? And the second question is, how would you use your role to continue the process of decolonizing the curriculum? So we're going to start this round off with Jem.
Wasn't expecting that. Okay, so in relation to the first question, I thought this question is quite well suited to me. I wrote a long letter with lots of other students, and I mobilized a large proportion of the SED student body undergrads to improve situations that are inflicted upon us by the pandemic. And this led to having many meetings, and it actually ended up leading to a 7-day grace period being introduced for all assignments for the rest of the year. All seminars are now recorded, and I was quite proud that being a direct effort of my own efforts. So that's what I feel I've done. And fighting for ethnic minorities, I do agree that there is a lot of chat. It's very easy to say and not do, but I think decolonizing the curriculum means making sure that it's not just white voices that are being represented. It's easy to critique the literary canon for English, for example, and then not look at non-white writers. It's easy to do that for all of the subjects. So I believe making sure that the sources, and it's not just white staff, and upholding and having no tolerance for racism and upholding people's values to make sure that everybody's voice is equally represented.
Thank you very much. We'll move on next to Zainab Sharif.
Hi, yeah. So in regards to the first question, so my experience has been a lot. As I've been an undergrad, I've been a course rep for 3 years in English and drama and in the history department. And now I work in politics and international relations. So I've worked across 3 HSS departments already. I've been a student ambassador and as an NUS delegate as well. in my role as an NUS delegate and working in the Athena Swan committee, I've worked really hard in introducing decolonizing the curriculum. And for example, that can mean a lot of things for a lot of different people. And I think that's one thing that we haven't clarified. And that means like decolonizing the curriculum means, especially in departments of HSS, which are context heavy and history heavy, I think we need to introduce more voices in the modules, in reading lists. So for example, how would you decolonize US foreign relations? That means introducing voices of civil rights, introducing voices that aren't heard, listening to people. And I've experienced a lot on campus. So as I'm Black and Muslim, so being part of Prevent and Islamophobia and everything on campus, I think it needs to be addressed immediately. Thank you.
Awesome. Joshua, we'll move on to you next.
Thank you very much. So representing students, I'm president of QMBL Swimming. So I've actually got connections already with lots of different departments within Humanities and Social Sciences. The other thing is also I'm really approachable. I can understand students on a deeper level. I'm part of the LGBTQ+ community. I've got a specific learning disability. I'm a mental health ambassador. I currently work at for the past year, I've worked at mental health hospitals. So I relate to students on a wide level of issues. Decolonizing the curriculum, I think we should do a study. I think that would make a lot of sense to do that. Staffing, looking into modules and seeing are these voices being heard, sources, module packs. So that would be a big thing for me.
Awesome, thank you very much. Zainab Khan, on to you for your...
So in regards to representing the student body, so I'm a part of like all the big societies. So I'm like a part of Pakistani, Bengali, like Asian, Arab, a lot of different group chats. And I also am a part of a lot of the Instagram. I don't know if that like counts, but I'm a part of that. So I definitely have good relationships with a lot of the people, especially like higher up. One of my best friends is like the Bengali Society committee leader or something. So I do have a lot of kind of relationships within that aspect. So I'm quite aware of the different people and the different groups in society, but I'm not going to waffle. Next question was decolonizing the module. I do feel like, especially in the SED, I think that there should be more opportunities for us to explore what we're passionate about, in the sense that we're able to, I guess, be taught from, okay, we're being in East London, I feel like...
That's time, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Jacob, lastly on to you.
Thank you. So in terms of establishing a connection and representing students, I'm the treasurer for the Music Society, and that also involves working with quite a lot of other societies to help plan events. And through that, I've seen a really wide variety of student life and had a lot of interaction with the SU. So I feel like I'm in quite a good position there to really make a connection with the students and understand what's going on there. In terms of decolonizing the curriculum, humanities students have two great opportunities, because we have a brilliant awareness of activism, which means that we are able to organize protests and be aware of issues, but also we have a curriculum that's very flexible to allow us to explore, I suppose, non-Western and non-white epistemologies, ways of thinking that we might not otherwise encounter. So I think we should really encourage our professors to use these opportunities given to us to properly explore these new ways of thinking. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much, Jacob. So unfortunately, we do not have time to do another round of questions, unfortunately. So we will move on to the closing statement from each of the candidates. You each will have 45 seconds to do this. So we are going to start with Zainab Khan for your closing statement.
So my closing statement is, obviously, I think everyone here is basically, like, I think you should vote for me because I'm really passionate about working with and around people. Just being a part of QM for 3 years, I've had a lot of experience, especially learning within the pandemic and seeing how everything's been transferred online. I do feel like there are ways that we can do things differently, bring about change, support our students better, especially within the humanities subject. There's definitely needs to be more opportunities available for QM students. And I just kind of want to be able to just help and support while we bring about this change. And you can, for my social media, I guess you can follow me on.
Thank you.
Oh, no?
Thank you.
Okay, don't worry.
Awesome. Joshua, we'll move on to you for your closing statement.
Hello. So the big thing about me is uni's supposed to be the best time of your life, and I really want to make sure it's that and lives up to what you want and more. Inclusivity is a big thing. I want everybody to feel safe, to be who they are, and to make campus an inclusive space. I've got impeccable communication skills. That's the big thing with me. With drama, we learn communication to a T. I've got a calm, collective nature, and all I want people to remember is Josh. Justice, opportunities, support, and honour. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Jem, on to you for your closing statement.
Sure. So I just want to say I want to be a vessel for all departments across HSS to represent your voices and your issues. It's not just a position for me. I think I've more than proved myself this year with the work I've done with SED, and I want to expand this to all of HSS because I really believe that uni should not be a stressful experience for everybody and should be easier, and we're the people that are there to do that as members of the SU. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Jacob, on to your closing statement.
Thank you. I think that next year the real challenge is going to be balancing whatever mixture of in-person and online events that are thrown our way. And the SU is going to need to be very flexible to deal with that and to really listen to the students, potentially completely online. So I would like to use this opportunity to learn from this year's mistakes and make next year a lot better. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And lastly, Zainab.
Okay, thank you. So I would say, first of all, check out my Instagram page and you will have so much more information on all the things that I want to do. And I think you should vote for me as your first choice because I think that there needs to be a postgraduate student as part of the SU. We are neglected, as you've already had questions from PhD students and postgraduate students. I have already worked in 3 HSS departments already and many roles working with educational issues and dealing with loads of students, listening to them and making sure our voices are heard. I think that education should be inclusive, fair and supportive. And as a person who has worked very hard and advocated for transparency from the university, I think that you should vote for me because that's exactly what I want to do for everybody.
Awesome, and that's time. Thank you very much. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the candidates and thank you to the audience members who asked their questions. Thank you very much.